They call us unique, they call us different, but we sing the same national anthem and salute the same national flag. We may be aside, but we aren't apart. Yes, we are from Northeast India, and it's an inevitable part. Hello everyone. Today we'll be presenting on the topic Impact of COVID-19 on Northeastern Indians. Northeastern India, officially known as the Northeastern Region or the NER, is the easternmost region of India, representing both a geographic and political administrative division of the country. It comprises 8 states: Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura and Sikkim. The states of the Northeastern region are officially recognized under the Northeastern Council, the NEC, which is constituted in 1971 as the acting agency for the development of the Northeastern states. Long after the induction of NEC, Sikkim formed the part of Northeastern region as the 8th state in 2002. In 1944, the Japanese planned a daring attack on British India. Traveling through Burma, its forces were stopped at Kohima and Imphal by the British and the Indian troops. During the war in 1962, China captured much of the Northeast Frontier Agency, which was created by India in 1954. But on 21st November 1962, China declared a unilateral ceasefire and withdrew its troops 20 kilometers behind the McMahon Line. It returned Indian prisoners of war in 1963.
Northeast Indians in mainland cities. There has been the presence of people from the Northeast in various mainland cities. In mainland India, racism against the Northeast Indians who look Mongoloid in character as against the other Indians is common. With huge migration flow from the Northeast in the last 2 decades, incidents of racism were not due to non-recognition but rather a consideration of lesser Indian or worst, unwanted Indians. For a Northeast Indian, hearing a question, "Are you from China?" is common. They are referred to as chinky and other remarks that are considered to be derogatory and were made not out of ignorance but to otherize and question the belongingness. This intention of rejection through questioning is what hurts them the most. In addition to otherizing them, objectifying and despising is common. The women from the region are doubly profiled. They are seen as easy women. The media has played a big part in building such attitudes and prejudices. Non-inclusivity in Bollywood can be another reason why the mainland Indians are unaware of Northeastern culture. Bollywood has a paramount impact on people's perception of Indianness of an individual or a community, and it has failed to provide recognition to the Northeastern communities. In a country that is home to so many subgroups, the communities are sometimes politically pitted against each other, which leads to fragmentation. With the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic, Northeasterns have been prone to many racial attacks and even racist killings. According to a study conducted under the umbrella of Indian Council of Social Science Research, around 78% of the people interviewed believed that physical appearance was the most important reason for the prejudice against Northeast Indian. Further, it also observed that the acts of racial discrimination against people from the Northeast increased after the COVID-19 outbreak last year. Another study conducted by Northeast Support Center and Helpline on Northeast Migration and Challenges in National Cities reported that the 86% of Northeast people said that they faced racial discrimination in metro cities of India based on such cultural profiling.
Northeast India during COVID. The onset of the pandemic has impacted political disorder patterns across the region, increasing the risk of instability and unrest in Northeastern India. CAA demonstrations declined during pandemic lockdown. The region superheaded the demonstration movement against the controversial Citizenship Act (CAA) throughout 2019, with Assam being the epicenter of the demonstrations. Demonstrations reignite. While demonstration events sharply declined following the government's imposition of the lockdown, an increase was reported from mid-June onwards. Of almost 1,060 demonstrations recorded after the lockdown, over 900 demonstration events were recorded between 15th June and 30th September. Some of these demonstrations were related to issues other than CAA as well, such as the management of the coronavirus crisis by the respective northeastern state governments, increasing violence against civilians in the northeast. The pandemic also triggered the state repression with an increase in attacks of civilians by the state forces. The majority of these attacks were cases of violent enforcement of lockdown restrictions by the state authorities.
Racism in India, a structural issue. Racism in India doesn't include only discriminatory practices. It is an issue which has to be acknowledged in structural terms instead of individual terms. It is a result of power relations. The rest of Indians stereotype the Northeast as a region inhabited by tribals. Ethnic territory of state formations in the Northeast region have given political power to certain groups and in turn stereotypes against the minorities. The study of racism in India concentrates on self-reported racism, which are apparent like hate crimes. However, it most importantly needs to include hidden or subtle types of racism that is all-pervasive. The strive to improve the laws and regulations against racism in India attempts to only deal with the obvious acts of racial bias. To address the many issues of covered forms of racism that are prevalent in the lives of Northeast Indians is far-flung.
These are some cases of racism faced by Northeast Indians post-COVID. Verbally abused, spat at and harassed. Lawyer and social activist Alana Golme shared photos of a Manipuri woman who was attacked in Delhi's North Campus area. The victim, who is in her early 20s, alleged that she was on her way to buy groceries when a man came on a two-wheeler and spat on her. He called her Corona before fleeing the spot. The incident took place on Sunday around 10 p.m. in Vijayanagar. A complaint has been filed against the man by the Delhi police under Section 509 of the Indian Penal Code. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal too condemned the incident. He says, "I'm shocked to read this. Delhi police must find the culprit and take strict action. We need to be united as a nation, especially in our fight against COVID-19, he writes on his Twitter account. Punjab YouTuber detained in row over racial slur on Arunachal MLA. Paras Singh, who goes by the name Paras Official, on his YouTube channel has allegedly termed airing as a non-Indian and Arunachal Pradesh a part of China in one of his videos posted on his YouTube channel. Paras made the comments while reacting to a letter addressed to Prime Minister Narendra Modi by airing recently, wherein the latter had asked the PM to ban the relaunch of the video game Battleground. Airing had reasoned that the game was aimed at deceiving the government and citizens and should be banned in the country. Airing said he would soon file complaints against Paras at the Pasighat police station and crime branch. Meanwhile, Arunachal Pradesh DGP has said a case has been registered against Singh for racial hatred and the cybercrime branch in Itanagar is investigating the matter. The All Arunachal Pradesh Students' Union has also slammed the comments made by Singh.
During the coronavirus outbreak in India, most of the victims and activists of racism self-report and engage themselves in digital activism. Apart from reporting such incidents in social media, they demanded political action through these mediums. Using text along with photo posts of racial abuse in social media is one of the most common forms of protest against racial discrimination. The text indicates the language of protest, description of the turn of events, appeal for justice and solidarity, along with mentioning or tagging of those in position of power to gain their attention. Along with such dissemination, protest posters were posted in social media to sensitize and generate mass awareness. Once such poster seeking to stand up for those who can't reads, "Stop calling people from Northeast coronavirus. It is not okay to say no to racism." These posters have nearly 5,000 shares within a month it was posted. The response. On 24th March 2020, the young Member of Parliament from Ladakh, Mr. Jamyang Trising Namyal, while sharing the viral video of two boys from Nagaland pleading to the security of a store in Mysore, tweeted, "We are not Corona. We were and we will be Indian always." The only Northeastern face in the Union Cabinet of Indian government, Kiren Rijiju, who is a Member of Parliament from Arunachal Pradesh and India's Minister of State of Minority Affairs, also tweeted on the same day, "I'm sad to see such racial discrimination in many parts of India. Anyone who ever discriminates people of other community, region, religion or race is the real enemy virus." Taking note of the derogatory remarks of racial prejudice that hurt sentiments of Northeast people, the report stated that the most common demand is to make words like momos, chinkies, Chinese, or any derogatory remarks relating to race, culture, identity or physical appearance to be made punishable. To prevent such expressions, the committee recommended new sections to be inserted in the Indian Penal Code to include racial discrimination, taunt and words that reflect racial prejudices that Asian ethnicity 363 hurt the sentiment of a particular group. The Criminal Laws Amendment Bill 2019 was introduced in the Rajya Sabha on 7th February 2020.
In conclusion, Northeast Indians in different parts of India were racially abused and stereotyped as the face of coronavirus during the COVID-19 pandemic. The above discussed cases show the victims' persistent assertion of their identity as an Indian while being brutally discriminated against. If this issue isn't properly addressed on time, the Northeasterners won't be recognized as equals and in turn lead to a sense of isolation and detachment. The recent racist attacks portray the inadequacy of the current laws and regulation to prevent such open acts of racial abuse. It also calls for stringent anti-racism laws as well as an efficient justice and law enforcing system. Addressing this social issue out of the many faced in India is just the start of the struggle for an integrated society. At present, the racial violence against the Northeast Indians would have had a lasting impact on the minds of the victims, and the emotional scar caused will stay with them even after the pandemic is over. With this, we have come to the end of our presentation. Thank you.